see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is the story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
Hello, thank you for joining us on CoreTV News this hour. I am Nifemi Oguntoye. President Goodluck Jonathan has re-echoed his call for stronger and more effective regional, continental and global alliance to rid the West African sub-region of terrorism, piracy and violent extremism. Jonathan made the call in this welcome address at the 46th Ordinary Session of the Authority of ECOWAS Heads of State and Government in Abuja. He says the West African sub-region had recorded some achievements in democracy and economic growth, but admits that insecurity and public health challenges are still rife.
Your Excellencies, while acknowledging that most achievements may have been recorded in the area of democracy and economic growth, we must also admit that our sub-region continues to face many serious challenges. Prominent among these challenges before us today is the ravaging Ebola epidemic. The last 6 months have witnessed the negative impact of the Ebola virus disease in the region. Since its outbreak in March this year, the disease has resulted in over 7,000 deaths, apart from negatively impacting our economies.
Since over the past few years, we have all witnessed what the clarity of your shared vision, your sense of solidarity and force of your individual and collective determination have enabled us to achieve. I am convinced that these qualities, which are more real than ever today, than ever will, at the end of your discussions, enable us find the best way of applying your decisions on the fight against the Ebola virus disease in complete solidarity.
The ECOWAS Parliament now has powers to carry out oversight functions, just like all legislative houses in the world. It can also, alongside the Council of Ministers, approve the community budget. This was after West African leaders adopted and signed into law the Supplementary Act on the enhancement of the powers of the Parliament. The Authority of Heads of State, which is the highest decision-making body of the regional body, adopted and signed the Supplementary Act into law at the 46th Ordinary Session of the Authority in Abuja. Reacting to the development, the Speaker of the ECOWAS Parliament, Senator Ike Ekweremadu, hailed the act as a monumental breakthrough for the Community Parliament and the entire West African sub-region. The Parliament had, since it was founded in 2000, been an advisory body of lawmakers from ECOWAS member states. A Kaduna-based human rights lawyer, Festus Okoye, said that the authorities should avoid using military to secure 2015 general elections. This, according to him, is because safeguarding the electoral process should ordinarily be the work of civil authorities. Okoye, who delivered a paper on the challenges ahead of the 2015 general elections during the press week of the Nigerian Union of Journalists in Kaduna State, argued that the military should instead be empowered to reclaim territories lost to insurgents in the northeast region.
Let the security agencies define their proper role and maintain their proper role, so that at the end of the day, we will have a fallback position. If we tempt the military, tempt the state security service, when we have challenge, where are we going to run to? So we cannot put our last line of defense as our first line of defense.
Residents of the Federal Capital Territory woke up on Monday to see long lines of vehicles in virtually all filling stations in the capital city. Motorists told CoreTV News that they had to spend longer time on queues before getting the commodity, which less than 24 hours before was available. Although the scarcity has not affected transport fare, commuters are already bearing the brunt of the situation as they spend longer time waiting for cabs and buses which are waiting for their turns at petrol stations. The manager of one of the stations said they had to sell the stock available with them in order to help in reducing the long queues. The people are, however, hopeful that government and the aggrieved oil workers will reach an understanding before the situation gets worse in the run-up to the festive season. Unlike Abuja, the oil workers' strike has not taken any negative effect on Lagos. The General Secretary of the Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, Adebayo Oluwoshile, has however described the development as a necessary evil. He asked Nigerians to bear the pain of the oil workers' strike for now in order to avoid future damage on the country's economy. Omotayo Alo has more in this report.
Stating the oil workers' reason for embarking on the strike, Oluwoshile says the federal government has done badly in maintaining the sector that generates major income for the country.
This is time for us to correct the east before we go to 2015. So we don't want it to be that we wait until the Christmas is still close to corner, but we believe that time is now. We had our meeting October 31st, 2014, and we immediately served government on these grievance issues. Let us sit down and talk. November 10, we had meeting, no headway. November 18, we had meeting, no headway. December 9, we had meeting, no headway. Where is the commitment? And that is the problem that we have now.
In what appears a bargaining tool in the face of an electioneering year, and at a period Nigerians look forward to celebrate the upcoming festive period at ease, Oluwoshile rules out any ulterior motive for the strike.
It's not about politics. It's about the fact that every Nigerians know that oil and gas industry in Nigeria can do as better as any other country's oil and gas sector. So we want our country, we are a monolithic economy. And the question is that if there is a problem within the industry, it is going to have far-reaching effect on the entire economy. And we don't want to be held responsible for that because we are a key stakeholder. We have strategic responsibility to ensure that we make this industry to do better than what it is doing now.
Motorists who spoke on the development have expressed disappointment at the timing of the strike and called on the oil workers to come to the round table with the federal government in order to avert unnecessary hardship on the people.
It's not a good idea at all because it's going to affect the whole of the festive period. People are going to suffer a lot because people are traveling, people want to have fun and all that. I don't think it's a good idea.
Not now they're supposed to be going on strike. Even if they should go on strike or if they want to negotiate for anything, it shouldn't be at this time.
If they should strike at this time, they are putting more fire into Nigeria problem.
Petrol stations in Lagos are yet to feel the impact of the strike, as at Monday when CoreTV News visited them. Omotayo Alo, CoreTV News, Lagos.
Meanwhile, the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC) says there is no reason for fuel lines in Abuja. This, according to the state-run oil company, is because there is enough stock to last 32 days across the country. It blames the queues on panic buying and not necessarily the warning strike by oil workers. In Ekiti State, Ayodele Fayose, the state governor, has presented the budget for the 2015 financial year to the State House of Assembly. The over 80 billion naira budget, christened Budget of Reality, had 60% for recurrent and 40% for capital expenditures. The presentation of the budget by the governor was, however, done behind closed doors, as journalists were barred from covering the event. The 19 APC legislators were also absent at the presentation. Rashid has more in this report.
The Ekiti State House of Assembly was again brought under the clear light as Governor Ayodele Fayose arrived to present the 2015 budget. His presence notwithstanding, journalists were barred from covering the presentation, while the 19 APC lawmakers were also absent at the occasion. The 80.77 billion naira budget of reality have 48.7 billion naira as recurrent expenditure and 31.9 billion naira for capital expenditure. The provision for 5 billion naira loan in the budget is a direct contradiction of one of the promises of Fayose not to go a-borrowing. He, however, defends his position.
That I said that we will not borrow should not be misinterpreted. If you borrow, you must pay within your government, within your tenure. You must, whatever you take as a loan, must be paid within your tenure. so that you do not end up in financial recklessness for people coming behind you.
The speaker designated, Dele Olugbemi, explains the absence of the 19 APC lawmakers at the occasion.
You get about the 19 because the place was flooded with men and women of caliber, the traditional rulers, the chiefs, the Yalajas and the Yalajas. I don't know, maybe you have their pictures of which you can show that they are conspicuously absent because that has been your responses in the past. I am sorry. And even the law does not even, presentation doesn't require any number. Go and see what the Constitution says. He said the governor side presents, and he has come here legally based on how the Constitution spelled it out that he must be in the assembly to present. Here is not talking about 18. Here is not talking about majority. Here is not talking about minority. Here is not talking about a specific numbers of legislators that should be present.
The leader of government business, Samuel Ajibola, however, denies that journalists were barred from covering the proceedings on the floor of the House.
I don't know that. That is not my duty. My duty is not to allow a press man in or not. So I'm a press person. But I know we have about 4 or 5 cameras inside there. So I wouldn't have known which camera is disallowed or which is not.
The budget has been subjected to the scrutiny of committees for further deliberations. Rashid, CoreTV News, Ado Ekiti.
You're watching CoreTV News on the hour. I'll be back with more stories after the stab out. Don't go away.
From time immemorial, women have birthed life, shaped character, and by extension, influenced the society. Moremi of Ife, Emoten of Benin, Queen Aminat of Zaria, all women of influence and power.
Whether it's before election, after election.
How ironical. Women being so powerful, yet have few grounds in decision making.
They see you as a wife, and I see you as a wife to a man.
We are talking women in politics.
A woman will be bold enough to stand up and say, I want to become president of Nigeria.
Only on CoreTV News.
Glad to have you join us again. You can also get all of the top stories on any of our social media platforms. On Facebook, it's facebook.com/CoreTV News. Our Twitter handle is at CoreTV News NG. We're also streaming live on YouTube. It's trending at youtube.com/CoreTV, leave a space and news. The leadership of the Nigeria's main opposition party, the All Progressives Congress, has converged on Abuja for an enlarged meeting. The meeting, according to a leading member of the party, is part of efforts to pick the running mate of the party's presidential candidate, Muhammadu Buhari. Unlike previous gatherings, APC leaders are reluctant to reveal the venue of the meeting to guard against distraction. This is because only those listed to attend are expected at the venue. There are, however, indications that the party leaders would hold a news conference later today. A federal high court in Abuja has turned down an ex parte application to restrain Aminu Tambuwal from acting as Speaker of the House of Representatives after his defection from the People's Democratic Party. The motion was filed by a member of the House of Representatives, Abiodun Akinlade, who urged the court to stop Tambuwal from parading himself as Speaker pending the determination of the suit challenging his continued stay in office. Justice Ahmed Mohammed, however, advised the plaintiff to put the Speaker and other defendants in the matter on notice rather than grant his application. He noted that it would not be fair to grant a restraining order through an ex parte application before the determination of the substantive suit. The federal lawmaker is seeking a judicial interpretation of an earlier judgment by Justice F. Uchuku, also of the Federal High Court in Abuja, who held that there was no division in the PDP. The Adamawa State PDP ESCO stakeholders and supporters have dissociated themselves from the announcement of former AFCC boss Nuhu Ribadu as the governorship candidate of the PDP. The ESCO and aspirants insisted that only legal primaries held in the state was that of the State House of Assembly. They called on the National Working Committee of the PDP to cancel the primaries held in Abuja, which they say contravenes the court orders and Electoral Act. They asked for a fresh conduct of the National Assembly and governorship primaries as provided for in the law.
And because of what they have done,
It is not me, it is not the aspirant, but the people of Adamawa will tell them what they have done for the people is wrong. What we are doing here, we are just liaising between the National Secretariat and the supporters of PDP in Adamawa State. We have been telling them what you are doing is wrong. Come home and talk to your relatives.
I want to tell you that in the next 48 hours, you will see us in action at Wadata House in Abuja. We will go and show our dislike for the illegalities that is being put on Adamawa State.
If before in 1999 or 2003 or 2011 or 2007, PDP could afford to neglect certain states, I can tell you now they cannot. The indices are clear. PDP is in trouble. Adamawa State is regarded as a battlefield. Listen, it's not given to PDP anymore, a traditional PDP state. So that is the justice. So ladies and gentlemen, let's be clear. We as a party have problems.
Speaking on behalf of the State Governor, Senator Abubakar Gerai says the State Governor Bala James Aguilari is still a governorship aspirant and has not resorted to the senatorial contest of Adamawa North, as reported in some quarters.
Authority of His Excellency the Governor of Adamawa State, Bala James Aguilari, to say without fear of contradiction that the issue you have raised is nothing but a mere rumor. On the other aspect of the aspirants, my colleague has stated our position. But let me also state that we will leave no option unturned. We are considering several options. And by the grace of God, at the end of the day, we shall emerge victorious. Thank you.
Governor has not attended the illegal primaries at all. Governor attended the convention where Mr. President is nominated. But he has not and never attended what they call primaries. The question of the governor taking what we call it senatorial or not senatorial is his personal feeling.
Now, the gale of defection sweeping through the People's Democratic Party in Oyo State as a result of the outcome of the governorship primaries there has once again led to the departure of a former leading candidate in the party, Seyi Makinde, to the Social Democratic Party. The candidate, however, gave reasons for his move.
Our people still believe in democracy, fairness, level playing field, and justice for all. However, it is impossible to realize this objective in a party that has proved repeatedly that it is an antithesis of this same belief. It is in the light of this, after fruitless efforts to ensure that free and fair election prevails within PDP and witnessing the yearnings of the ordinary people of Oyo State, that are asking for change for the reduction of poverty due to poor governance. I find it extremely difficult to shy away from this popular demand to make a difference in the lives of our people. Based on the work that my team and I have put into the campaign to ensure change comes to Oyo State, I have decided with the entire structure of Omitutu to join the Social Democratic Party.
Kaduna State Governor Mukhtar Ramalan Yero has said that hard times are necessary to effect positive changes in the state, but can't be done in an election year. Yero, who will be flying the flag of the People's Democratic Party in the 2015 election, says such decisions could be misunderstood rather, and end up being used to achieve political gains. The governor was speaking at an interactive session with the Kaduna Council of the Nigerian Union of Journalists as part of activities marking the 2014 press week of the council. He added that even though painful decisions are necessary to effect changes in the state, they can't be done in an election year.
So if you hear people making inciting speeches, making comments that will create problems that they don't have for, they are only pushing people to create problems. And when there is a problem, or when they did not get what they want, then people will go out and start creating problems. But I always ask, and I would like the journalists to help the people to ask people who are making inciting statements, who are making speeches that will create problems. Have you ever seen their children involved in it? You will never see their children being involved in it. They are either out of the country or they are in good schools, even within the country. Even if you go to political meeting in their house, you will never see their children. Why are they pushing other people's children? And when there is a problem, they quickly involve or inform the security agencies and they guard their houses.
The issue of eligibility, I have faith.
Over the revelation by defected Lagos PDP governorship aspirant Musiliu Obanekoro that the party has a sinister motive behind the establishment of the Subsidy Reinvestment and Empowerment Program Federal Task Force is on. The immediate past former Minister of State for Defense had claimed after his loss at the primary that the Shopi Federal Task Force was being used by leaders of the PDP to perpetuate electoral violence in Lagos, especially at the 2015 general elections. Oluwaseyi Adegoke meets with the spokespersons of the APC and PDP in the state and brought back this report.
Before now, there has been controversy over the establishment of the famous Shopi Task Force in Lagos. The operational base of the task force was thrown into total confusion last July over an incident involving one of its personnel and a team of the Lagos State Special Task Force on the environment. The scene was better imagined. Things later returned to normal after this near-bloody clash. But it appears this bombshell by Obanekoro have begun to send some signals to the operators and their fresh recruits, as the base of the Shopi Task Force on the tollgate end of the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway looks nearly deserted when CoreTV News visited as an attempt to speak to those on ground was rebuffed. The All Progressives Congress, which had asked the Inspector General of Police, Suleiman Abba, to investigate Obanekoro's claim, insists the agency is established by the PDP to train political thugs ahead the 2015 elections.
You know, Shopi is a federal government thing, and it's supposed to be for everybody. But the share of Lagos is being taken up by PDP. But it has been taken up by PDP. They have been registering people, we don't know the number they have now. And their target is to use them during the elections as voters and as thugs. You see, we have seen it before. During the time when Ogulewe was the Minister for Works. Ogulewe was the Minister for Works. They trained these people, unleashed them on the streets of Lagos, and there was war between them and last man. And many people died. Many were maimed and injured. This time they said that APC has been leveraging on LASMA, Loma, Kai. Let them set out their own outfit. That was why this Shopi thing came up. They want to create their own squad, create jobs for people so that when elections come, they will vote for them. It's strictly for PDP. What Shopi is supposed to be for everybody. They made it exclusively for PDP and to use it for elections and election purposes.
Trust the PDP not to lie low over what it considered an unsubstantiated claim. The publicity secretary of the party in Lagos, Gani Taufik, says the APC is always quick to jump into conclusion and wanting to make a mountain out of a mole.
We are not surprised that APC is again blackmailing the federal government by accusing it of setting up FEMA to perpetrate violence during elections. This is because the APC has become very notorious for accusing and maligning federal government agencies that have refused to be compromised by them. We hear APC condemn police, condemn the Nigerian Army, condemn INEC, condemn any federal government agency only when that agency or the officer controlling the agency has refused to be compromised by them. People are employed to carry out legitimate functions of federal government, but rather than the APC to be progressive in that regard, they are being reactionary. They are paranoid because, of course, they know that Lagosians are already disenchanted with them.
The last definitely is yet to be heard, even as Obanikoro maintained that officials of the task force were hired by a leader of the PDP in the state, Bode George, to perpetrate violence at the governorship primary. Oluwaseyi Adegoke, CoreTV News, Lagos.
That wraps up this hour on CoreTV News. Join us again at the top of the hour for more stories. I am Nifemi Oguntoye. Thanks for being there.